Oh, Rolo, I can't be remiss. I can't be remiss to ask you what your thoughts on Kamala's ad campaign was about. Did you see that?
Which one?
The one.
I mean, they've tried 4 or 5 different phases of advertising and marketing.
Okay.
Nothing's sticking. So
okay, so there's only one I'm familiar with, and I can't imagine it's not the one you're talking about. It's Vichy males. Okay, which is like the Vichy French.
Oh, right.
They are basically traitors to their traitors to your fucking
that one,
gender.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. It's like
bros for Kamala.
Bros for Kamala.
The bros for Kamala. Well, the ones that Trump talked about at the weekend. Yes. How, what are all their wives?
And their wives' boyfriends or their wives. Yeah.
Love me.
Love the cuckold. dig. Yeah. Well, it will. I think what's interesting is like it shows you where their priorities are. So, for instance, and would you like me to repeat this again? I'll be happy to. About mid-July, July or August of 2022, Progressive Victory, the Democratic National Committee's super PAC, fronted by Sam Drismala, decided they were going to start buying influencers such as Jasmine Jafar, Farah, Pixie, Destiny, and a whole bunch of other Twitch kids whose names I don't care to remember, and started paying them large sums of money to be the sock puppets for the DNC. Okay. Why did they do that? Well, because they're afraid that the red pill and a lot of the guys who are on our side of the fence anyways are going to be radicalized, and that's the first step for them wanting to vote for Trump or voting for more conventionally masculine candidates, let's just say. Right. Why is Rollo Tomassi still on the DHS watch list? Why am I still a target of diverting hate NGO? Why? I'll tell you why. Why? Just all you got to do is look and see where my traffic is being diverted to. It's being diverted to Justin Baldoni,
right?
A prime contributor to the Kamala Harris fucking cause, right? That's where it's state approved masculinity in the United States under the Democrats looks like Justin Baldoni. That's who it looks like. So when we're talking about politics, and we'll get into this probably a little bit more as we get closer to November 5th. And by the way, don't forget, Access Vegas, we're doing election night Access Vegas on that Tuesday with a roundtable of girls. We're going to be talking politics and gender politics. And the reason why I'm bringing this up right now is because in 2024, really the 21st century in general, all politics are gender politics. Every single time. Every time there's an election, whether it's a midterms or it's a general election, whatever, a local election, every time you cast a vote, it is a gendered vote. Right. Trust me on this, because as soon as I know Pearl's big on whatever, repeal the 19th, right? You're never going to repeal the 19th. Shut the fuck up about that. Stop wasting your time with this and learn how you can use your vote to get whatever it is assuming you even think voting actually still does anything these days. Yeah. But the reason why I'm on that DHS still to this day. I'm hoping in November maybe things change, because it was supposed to be for a 1-year deal, right? And November is when they started. But if you look at the amount of money that is being funneled through like tenant media on the right, and then you look at the amount of money that's being funneled through Progressive Victory, through schmucks like Destiny and the rest of these guys who are basically paid mouthpieces of the DNC and have been for some time. And if you have platformed these people, and yes, I know Fresh and Fit have, but if you're platforming these people, you are complicit in Kamala Harris's campaign.
That's right.
You have just been a mouthpiece. You've been a platform for Kamala Harris.
Yeah. But that's how you know that the advertising campaign for the Bros for Kamala didn't work, was because the memes ratioed it so quickly that they had to move on to something else. Because you look at these guys, it's like, can they do a push-up?
No, of course not. Well, and
it was amazing. It's like, is anybody going to touch their pee-pee in the next year?
You know Scott Galloway, right? We've talked about Scott Galloway before.
Oh, yes.
Scott Galloway seems like he knows what he's talking about until it comes down to like he can get the diagnosis right. His cure is, well, we need to
socialism.
Yeah, we need to put men and boys in re-education camps because testosterone is the most damaging chemical on planet Earth, and we have global warming because men are toxically masculine. I'm like, where the fuck are you coming up with this shit?
Yeah.
And so when I see stuff like that, and I look at who is allowed to become popular and who is put on a fucking DHS watch list, myself, Rich Cooper, Aaron Clary,
Aaron, really?
You couldn't find. I love you, Aaron, but like
Yeah.
you couldn't find somebody else. But the reason why is because they're worried. They were scared shitless that guys like myself are going to radicalize incels, because incel was the boogeyman for this year and has been really for the last 18 months. Looking at you, Will
Right.
Costello. They needed, and if there's no boogeyman, no one gets paid. Who's getting paid? Let's see. Everybody working for for Progressive Victory. Let's see. Diverting hate at ASU, getting paid my fucking tax dollar. I'm paying for it right now because I'm going to be taxed on the money I make off your super chats. Sorry, and they're going to take that money and they're going to take those taxes and they're going to give it to the diverting hate through the DHS. That's how we're basically funding. Essentially, I mean, indirectly, we're funding our own fucking demise, right? Why am I on that list? Because they are scared shitless that Rollo Tomassi is going to say something that's true about female nature or whatever, and that through some sort of slippery slope, I'm going to lead to more men voting for Trump. That's basically what it rolls down to. They would not be buying influencers, like Progressive Victory would not be buying influencers as far back as 2 years, well, more than 2 years ago now. They would not have been buying them as far back as July of 2022 if they weren't already thinking about this 2 years in advance.
Yeah.
They already knew this. This was on the fucking books.
Yeah.
Same thing with Tenet Media. Now, Tenet Media is being funded by, allegedly, by Russian influencers or whatever. They're buying influencers as well. Outside interests can now buy influencers. Tim Pool, Lauren Chen, Lauren Southern, all the rest of these people who have in any way had to, like Lauren Southern, looking at you too, because you're the one who's benefited with your documentaries, and Alex from Date Psych doing all the same thing. Where did that money come from? You don't care. You're not going to look for it. You don't.
Right.
Yeah. So, and again, I'll say the same thing I said about Destiny. I'll say the same thing about them. Is like, if somebody is paying you to carry their water for them, you are a sock puppet. You should have an asterisk by whatever video you have that this was paid for with Russian money. This was paid for by the
pretty
DNC.
Crazy, wasn't it?
Yes, whoever it is. There should be some disclaimer saying this is a paid political ad.
Yeah.
For whatever it is, and that's how they get around that
dark money stuff floating around.
Who's getting thoughts on Obama calling black men misogynistic?
Man, do you think that really went over that well with the black guys? I mean, really? I know I have a couple of really good friends, black, and
black men.
Don't think they're going to take that well.
Come, welcome to the Red Pill. Yes,
yeah.
You're already here.
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't.
What you talking about? We're already here.
that's how much of a bubble I think he is in now, that he doesn't realize just how far out he went. Like that didn't help. That probably hurt the cause more than
Rollo, what are your thoughts on Kamala desperate for the men's vote, including both white and black men? Well, as I said, it's been something that's been in the works for the last 2 years, covertly. And I think that as far back as when Will Costello started doing his incel research only at incel.co and that like not doing anything outside of that, right? Basically getting his PhD. I think now we can see the machinations behind all this stuff. Of course, what did they do? The DHS uses that study to therefore verify that incels should be on a domestic terrorist watch list, that they are now considered domestic terrorists.
I think this is the problem that they're going to have. They're going to be the scapegoat. They're going to be the patsy after the election if she does lose. What I've seen in the polling since she knifed Joe Biden and took over the nomination, the independent undecideds that are out there are predominantly men. Almost 67% of undecided independents are men. And they're breaking at that ratio to Trump towards the end. Even after the debate, 60 to 70% were breaking to Trump. And that was not a great debate for him. But she couldn't close the deal with those undecided independents, men and women.
I think there was, honestly, I think there was I don't think that Kamala was going to be the nominee to begin with. Like when Biden,
it'll be very interesting. Eventually, the truth will come out.
And I don't know why they didn't do this, because I mean, maybe I'm smarter than them. I don't know, but I don't know why she's the candidate. I thought Gavin Newsom would be the candidate because he has got way more youth going for him. He's got a better, like imagine a debate between Trump and Gavin Newsom and how that would have gone down.
Yeah. Well, it's one of two things. The junta, it either just didn't turn out the way the junta wanted it, or it did because she'll say and do whatever they want.
No, I think I think honestly, I think the DNC is more worried about the masculinity thing. They know, DNC above all other parties know that every election is a gendered election. All politics are gender politics, and Republicans need to fucking catch up. They're running 20th century campaigns in the 21st century. Right. They're running a 21st century or 20th century candidate in the 21st century.
And I think that's why Obama came out and did what he did. They're looking at the polls. They know that black men are breaking in record numbers towards Trump this time, and they're coming out and they're wagging their finger at men.
They're gonna blame it on
You're
me.
just doing it because she's a woman.
Fucking red pill guys.
You're doing it just because she's a woman. And that's, men are going to be the patsy afterwards if she does lose.
Yeah. Well, it's just, okay. So whenever Hollywood puts out a piece of shit movie and they know it's going to be garbage, and it's usually like Miss Marvel or something like that, or it's like supposed to be like it's the all-female cast of Ghostbusters, right? They know it's going to be a dog, and they do that on purpose. And the reason for them doing it on purpose is because it's not about the movie itself, it's about the narrative that's going to be circling around it. So for instance, and by the way, this is a way for them to market movies now, is they know it's going to be a piece of shit, and they already preset that into the marketing plan, saying it failed because men are still toxic pieces of shit. It'll
be interesting because remember, was it a comedian? Somebody got absolutely savaged for making fun of that movie about one of the women that was an actor.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was, but he was like, he lost work and money, got savaged.
Yeah.
And
it was the big girl from the big black chick that was in Ghostbusters. Milo Yiannopoulos got banned from Twitter for that.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. And like it'll be funny to see who the big name patsies will be. This was why she lost, was because of you.
Yeah.
Did they try to pick out certain men for this, or certain women, or just in general?
Last thing, Rollo, if Kamala wins, you are public enemy number one. I'm already public enemy number one. Are you fully prepared for the crap storm coming your way? I've been dealing with it all year, quite honestly. Since March, when the biannual report came out. I'm hoping I can get the final report so that I can use that in my civil suit when there's supposed to be a class action suit against diverting hate right now. So once I get because there's a biannual report, so the next one should come out in November. If I can get my hands on that and prove that they are directly limited the traffic to this channel and basically throttled my, in collusion with YouTube, throttled my fucking traffic here.
That's a violation of your civil rights.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man. Hey, Rollo, question. Do you think if the Dems win this presidential election, that it'll further affect intersexual dynamics negatively in the United States? No, we go back to everything is fucking sweep the table. It's time to clear the table, put your bets on the pass line, because once we get past, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've already talked about this on a few occasions, is once we get to November 6th, like, you're going to see the dynamic on YouTube and on Twitter and on social media is all going to change. It might not change overnight, but it's going to change dramatically. People are going to pivot, because the shit that plays right now, this social imperative. I was just looking at this guy who was like giving me this Catholic. I'll play this thing. It's this Catholic guy talking to another Catholic guy about how he hates me or hates the red pill or whatever else. And he thinks that the red pill is about politics. I'm like, in its original sense, it was about politics. I'm like, dude, you have no earthly idea what you're talking about. I can show you the very first instance on So Suave where I used the term red pill in 2004. Trust me, asshat, it's way different, way
deeper.
Yeah, when you were watching Fairly Odd Parents and fucking Phineas and Ferb, I was writing about this shit.
Right.
So like, go home, don't hurt yourself, and then we'll talk after the fucking election when you can. Then I'll accept your apology after the fucking election, because that's really what this is about. It's like there's this desperate need to turn the red pill into politics. And by the way, I said exactly this, and I have the video queued up too.
Right.
Exactly this to Myron and Fresh in March of 2021. People want to turn the red pill into, as a term, it's as a loose brand. They want to turn it into whatever their pet ideology happens to be.
Right.
It's exactly what they did in 2020, exactly what they did in 2016. I keep bringing this up. Candace Owens used to call herself Red Pill Black in 2016. Because back then the red pill was still being appropriated by people who have no business calling anything red pill. Right. So it has only ever been about intersexual dynamics. It will only ever be that way. So, hey Rollo, my other YouTube account got shadow banned and they couldn't let me super chat here. These shadow ban stuff is of the red pill is nuts. Yes, and it's only going to get worse. People want to know what I would do if suddenly Kamala gets into office. I think it's funny. It's like, well, what do you think the Gestapo is going to like show up and do you think is that what's going to happen as soon as the November 6th rolls around? I was telling you this, and one of the other guys in Reignite, I said I don't think Kamala's going to win. I think Trump's already in. Right. And the reason I said that is because you don't see any. Here we are 2 weeks out from the general. You don't see Antifa losing their shit. You don't see rioting. They're not setting Minneapolis on fire. They're not setting downtown Portland on fire. There's no Black Lives Matter anywhere to be found. There's no COVID. There's no, look at all the shit that went down in 2020. None of that. It's crickets right now. And I think the reason is because they've resigned themselves to saying we're going to lose this fucking election. And they would rather maintain and reserve all the stuff that they have so that they can put probably Newsom, I guess, up in 2028 because they realize that the cause is already lost. Otherwise, they would have all these motherfuckers out in the street. We would have, forest fires in fucking the Angeles Crest, forest right now, and it would just be mayhem. Think about, people have very fucking short memories, man. And you don't, I'm looking at old posts of mine from 2020 on my Twitter. And I was talking about how there was arson going on because I was very concerned with that living in Reno because the fires were getting very close to my houses. Right. Yeah. And it was arson. And if you look at the people who are setting these fires, they look like people who would be supporting fucking Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Right. And so up and down the entire West Coast of the United States, it's just this one long fire that just goes all the way down from Washington State all the way down to fucking Cabo San Lucas, man. And it's just insane. And I'm like, when does this happen in an election year? When does Antifa act up in an election year? When do we start worrying about gender politics, abortion? We don't have these conversations we won't have these conversations in 2025. It'll be something else. We won't be talking about women's rights and, kicking back the Roe v. Wade to the states. No, in fact, nobody even talked about that in 2023. No. It was a huge thing in 2022, but nobody talked about it in 2023. Yeah. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm not worried one fucking bit. You know why? Because as soon as November 6th rolls around, nobody's going to know what to do with themselves because they have basically went all in on culture war, on social issues, on politics, on Zionism, for where the fuck that came from, right? All this stuff that everybody finds so goddamn important, deathly important right now. November 6th, a fart in the wind, man. Yeah. You trust me on this because exactly the same thing happened at the end of 2020 and into 2021.